Good afternoon, LinkedIn. Thank you for tuning in with us today. I am Morgan Doyle with Marketing Eye, and today I have with us Robert Fox, who has been on these before, but really we brought him in today as he is an owner of a small business. And what we'd like to discuss today is really pain points in that small to medium-sized business space, as well as where there is value and benefits outsourced marketing service provider can add to your company and your business. So kind of just getting started, what are, from an overarching pain point as well as the day-to-day pain points of a small business owner in a small to medium-sized business space?
From a marketing perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes, sorry.
So from marketing, the first thing really is the resource, like having the resources, whether it's having the time, whether it's having a person. Generally, the person that is in marketing in a small business also wears another hat, meaning they have another job that they play. They could be doing something in accounting, or they could be something in answering phones, or whatever it may be. So it becomes hard to get that resource dedicated to marketing, which also links to the skills, because a lot of times if someone is not, so I graduated with a marketing degree many, many years ago. The world of marketing is completely different than when I graduated, and it changes all the time. So to have the person that has the skills that are relevant to today's marketing requirements is tough. So even if you have that person, how are they staying on top of marketing tools, marketing processes, because there's new things and new ideas coming out every way to be creative in the digital world.
Right.
And then ultimately it comes down to budget, whether you are able to hire a person full-time or as an extension of your staff by outsourcing it to somebody, or, and whether or not your budget allows you to hire somebody with the capabilities that is that really in-tune marketer that knows everything that's going on in the industry today.
Well, and I think you really brought up some good points, because many small to medium-sized businesses may have one person internally to cover their marketing. Yeah. And I think there's this misconception that that person can handle it all. Now, they may be able, skill-wise, say in the expertise, they may be that senior level marketer that can truly identify all the needs of the business when it comes to marketing, all the things that need to happen and tactics that need to be in place. But there's that piece of time. And at the end of the day, for the most part, one individual is not going to be able to proactively implement all the marketing tactics that your company needs to truly stay on board and stay ahead of the industry and ahead of the market.
Absolutely. So, because it's very interesting, because I think everybody, and you probably get this with people like applying for jobs for Marketing Eye, is that they think because they've done a little bit of marketing, or they think marketing is easy to do. So there's these basic things that people think. So if they want to do, I can do marketing, I can do a email campaign. They don't realize that that's only one component of a multi-dimensional process that has to go into place to actually do something efficiently and effectively for marketing. So, people say, they think it's easy, but they don't. And so that resource, to your point, could be able to send an email marketing campaign or do a blog once a month or something, but that's only just a nit of the big picture of what really is a program for effective marketing.
Right, and I think that's the thing, is there's multiple components, from the personnel, whether they have the expertise or not, the time, and the budget. And some things, that people don't implement or consider in their budget, especially for marketing, is these additional platforms that need to be utilized to help that automated system. Those are additional costs.
Expensive.
So a lot of times companies, we find, are looking at the salary of that individual, even if they're a junior. Okay, well, that's my funds that I'm allocating towards marketing, maybe plus this trade show or this event and a few direct mail campaigns. They're not thinking about all the digital platforms that need to be adopted into that process to truly implement that.
Right.
And then another thing is, you need those platforms and adoptions because the pure matter of time.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, almost every professional is time poor to some extent, whether they're great time managers or not. And so part of that with marketing is, you may, again, going back to the expertise level, you may know all the things that need to take place, or you may not. By the end of the day, each one of those activations truly take time. That's broader than just one individual.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
So moving into kind of discussing the pain points of what a business owner can face when it comes to marketing and really pushing the brand and the company image and personality out to their market. What are some of the things that you may look for in an outside or outsourced marketing department?
Okay. So I look at it in the stages of what people want to achieve in marketing. First, brand awareness. They want their name to be recognized in the marketplace, whether someone's doing a search, a Google search or something, that you want your name to come up. So what does that require? Brand awareness requires leveraging LinkedIn, being able to do blogs and continually, and in your blogs, use the right words. In the titles, use the right words that are going to get the clicks and get people to actually to look at that. So really, it starts with brand awareness, getting yourself recognized in the marketplace. Then I would say that links to lead development. So whether that is an email campaign, whether that's going to a trade show, whether that is going to any type of program that generates leads. And there's so many options. I'm stumbling there because there's so many different things that incorporate that. But what from a sales organization, from a sales perspective, the lead and generating, identifying a lead is only one thing. Then there's the nurturing. So what goes into, like I said earlier, you could do an email campaign and somebody can click on something, or but what happens when you click on that? What's next? Do they get a white paper? Do you reach out to them? Do they get some sort of follow-up information that's going to help them move along the sales process? And then as it's being nurtured, that goes to what the marketing needs to do to help move a opportunity through the sales process. So is there a presentation? Are there collateral? Is there value messaging? Is there templates for statements of work or proposals, right? So all those things go into, it's not just, I think people think, oh, I need, a lead, I need to do marketing. They don't realize there's a lot of different things. So from my perspective and what I look for, there's multiple steps that I interact with my marketing company on.
Right. And that's fair. And what I'd like to do is if really we can break down some of those components and kind of the tactical pieces and components that a marketing service will implement to support those 4 key pieces that you said. So let's talk about brand awareness to start with. So part of that, you mentioned social media, posting blogs, LinkedIn, and really having a digital presence.
Yes.
So that can be, traditional marketing from advertisements and direct mailers. And then it can be brought into the digital platforms. So that could be email campaigns like you discussed.
Yep.
But placing those links and nurturing that back into your website to continue to increase that traffic flow, or building engagement and continually building a cadence for constant proactive material on your business to post on social media platforms, as well as build the engagement with your end audience. And I do believe, like we've had outside conversations, that some companies face, especially in the small to medium business space, some companies face that cost-effective value. And how can I put my sales reps, who may be, the small to medium clients are just as important as our large clients, but it might not be as cost-effective to send a sales rep if they're widely distributed across the country.
Right.
And so I think that's one component where this digital platform comes in, and these email campaigns to really, nurture current clients as well as prospects. You mentioned the brand awareness, but really that can lead into lead generation.
Totally. And your cost effectiveness, I think, is a key thing to talk about. So I was in a recent conversation where we talked about doing a case study or success study, a success story. And you think about, you can put that on your website. But if you cost effective, let's think about all the things you just said. You could actually do a blog or a campaign with a snippet of that success story, get someone to click on it, that goes to your website, so it's not just creating this piece of collateral or this success story. It's then how do you use it to generate activity around your company and around leads. So then ultimately, if they click on it, then you can implement some sort of lead nurturing as a next step too.
Right. And just what you said can bring in a lot of different components, because at the end of the day, the sales and marketing alignment is a really big piece of this. Also, for a company, we're looking for the profit and the revenue growth. So how do we do that? By generating leads. Marketers can provide that lead generation to support the sales through different ways of email campaigns, bringing that traffic back to your website, engaging on social media, and various platform tools that we can use. Part of that is, for say website, for example, do you have Google Analytics in place, or different third-party resources that show you who's visiting your website? where are they clicking on your website? Where are they spinning their cursor? Where is that sitting the longest on their website? Because that shows you where they're engaging, if they are engaging.
Yeah.
Or what you mentioned, the email campaign, if they click back to your website, or a blog that they briefly see an interesting first paragraph, and then are you linking it back to your website to continue that traffic, but then follow up with that nurturing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's hard to do that manually as a individual, but if you have the right tools and resources in place, whether that be personnel, platforms, which do cost, but in the end, time as well, then you can really execute on, monitoring that success of those platforms.
I mean, so there's the ROI, right? So there's the ROI aspect. So when I work with my marketing company, one of the things that I always want to find out is what we agree on is what ultimately do you want to accomplish? Is it brand awareness? Is it lead generation? Is it collateral? Is it updating your website? And there's all things that you can get yourself so crowded into. And so, helping drive where that priority is. But to your point about all these links and following and search engine optimization and stuff like that, the marketing company will generally have some sort of dashboard that can tell you, based on what your objectives are and your ROI is, what you want as outcomes. They're going to be able to say, well, we got 25 clicks on this, and we got, I can't afford to pay for all those tools.
Right. Well, and I think not only that, and I'm glad you circled that back around, because what an outsourced marketing department can provide a client is, one, the expertise, because it's an entire team where you have an expert writer and an expert publicist and journalist and marketer and then designer, all these key components that it would cost a fortune for a small to medium-sized business have that internally. And it's just not realistic for a lot of companies. But for, a specific price that's quoted, depending on the amount of hours that's requested, you can get all of that expertise in one, but then also expertise in platforms, cost-saving ways to utilize those platforms, as well as the analytics behind, because as a outsourced marketing department, you're still trying to show your ROI to the client. But I'm glad, too, that you mentioned, each client, and really what we like to work with as an outsourced firm is identifying what's going to matter to you.
Yeah.
Because it might not always be lead generation. It might be, to your point, a new website that somebody needs to really build a new brand and building that brand awareness. Or it may need, I want to grow by 10% in sales within the next year. How is marketing going to support that?
Yeah. Right.
So really identifying those key metrics, customized to the client, and building out the strategy and expertise backed by all those components.
And giving options, right? So because you talk about it, the having that person, and if you even do, but leveraging a outsourcing your resources to a marketing company, those people are continually staying up to date on new tools, on new ways of getting your message out, on creative things that, I saw this people do this campaign, or I watched this and that worked. Why don't we try this, right? So they're paying attention to that. I'm not.
Right.
So they can bring those recommendations. So when I say I want to generate 5 leads, there's options that we can do, and what do we think are the best options? And so just really having that strategic conversation and feeling like you're invested, but you just don't have, again, budgets, knowledge, skills, resources to do that. Your confidence in them and outsourcing that to a capable marketing company is critical.
Right. Well, and as a business owner, you don't need to, nor I'm sure you don't want to, allocate your time and, brain energy on what are we going to do in marketing? Yeah. How are we going to do it? What are we going to do? And what's best practices? Really, that's where the third party comes in, provides us expertise and the implementation, not only giving you what you should do, but how to do it, and we're going to do it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think part of that too is, when it comes back to sales, circling back to sales, at the end of the day, we all need numbers in order to operate.
Start with the end in mind, right? You always got to start with the end in mind.
It's really is supporting those sales and that sales cycle. And so some of those things I believe are, interacting with the sales leader, whether that's the business owner, vice president or director of sales, or even a sales manager, and really being in tune with what they need. Do they need, presentations and templates? Do they need proposal help from design and content? Do they need even phone scripts and back to email campaigns as supporting and nurturing leads and prospects, as well as current clients?
Yeah. And I think the difference between a good company and a great company that you can outsource to is that a good company will listen to that sales leader and say, okay, great, I'll do that. A great company will say, let me understand why you want to do that. Let me understand what is the purpose in your mind, because they aren't marketers.
Right.
I'm not a marketer.
Right.
So I may say, what we need to do is we need to update this or update our website or change this, and then the marketing company could just run off and do that.
Right.
Without knowing that there's actually another problem that I don't know about because I'm not a marketer, that a great marketing company will come back and say, I think you actually need to look at this a little bit differently.
And I really love that you pointed that out, because truly there's different components, and not that I do everything right, but one thing I want for my clients is to know that I hear them and I listen to them. So there is always going to be a hesitance to change and adopt new processes, whether they're used to traditional marketing and we're trying to encourage them to move to a digital platform. Well, if they're completely against it, I want to know why, and how can I make rooms to challenge them a little bit to adopt maybe one platform, or just move to a digital presence, and maybe not a full social media suite. But it's truly understanding the why behind why the client either is resistant to change or wants to go 100% in one direction, and maybe you're not advising that because you are, at the end of the day, the marketing expert to help advise them and challenge them, but also listen to them and adapt the solution to that.
Because ultimately I could hire a temp to execute an email campaign.
Right.
I can't. That temp is not going to go, why are you doing that email campaign? What are the outcomes you want of that campaign? What are the different messages you want to put into that campaign, etc. Like a good marketing company would.
Well, and I think that's a good reminder too to all marketing professionals is you are hired to challenge the status quo, because what they're currently doing may be working, but it's not going to work next month, and it's not going to work next year. And so that's where
the dashboard that you guys can track will tell you what's working, what's not.
Exactly. Well, Robert, do you have any final tips for small to medium business owners on how to really identify a good outsourced marketing department for them?
So I would identify the end in mind. Right. So identify what you want. And when you approach the marketing firms or you're interviewing marketing firms, talk to them about what you're trying to accomplish, because that's going to be your metric of success. So if they are good, they're going to, as I said, they're going to just give you recommendations. If they're great, they're going to say, tell me the background behind, why are you thinking that? What are you doing? So I would look for people that push you, look for people that are knowledgeable. I would look for, having them share with you some of their successes or some of the things as references and things like that. But that's really, I want to be able to either pick up the phone or see the marketing person, if we meet regularly, whatever, and feel comfortable when that meeting is over that they're working with me and they've heard me, as you said, to help me accomplish my goals.
Well, thank you for that honest feedback. And I think that's very valuable insight to all business owners, small to medium, and even large enterprises, really understanding what you're looking for and who's going to fill that role. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks, Robert, for participating. If you have any other questions or additional concepts that you'd like us to discuss in future videos, or just comments about the current topic that we talked about and truly outsourcing your marketing department, what that looks like, whether you have internal resources or not, please leave comments below, and we welcome all feedback. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye now.